This video is a sample from the Secret Guitar Teacher Interactive course, The 5 Main Elements of Music. The 5 main elements of music. Element number 2, scales. Section 2.7, using the major scale. Part number 2, playing melodies from standard notation. The ability to work out a melody from standard notation is a useful, practical skill for a guitarist to learn. In this section of the course, we'll take you through a nice, simple, step-by-step approach to help make this easy to do. Back in the pre-internet era, if you couldn't work out a song just by listening to it, and you didn't have anyone around to show you how to play it, your only recourse was to look it up in a songbook. And that's exactly how I learned the majority of the songs I was playing in my teens and 20s. Here are some of the songbooks that I used. For this lesson, I'm going to work with an example from Russ Shipton's Complete Guitar Player Songbook. And the song I've chosen to work on is Annie's Song. This is a John Denver hit from the mid-70s. And I've chosen it because it has a strong melody and enables me to demonstrate all the important basics of using standard notation to work out a melody on guitar. A PDF copy of the page can be found from the link below or from the main menu. The first step is to work out what key the song is in, and we covered this in the last section of the course. The key signature contains no sharps nor flats, so we know that we are either in C major or A minor. A quick glance at the start, and more importantly at the end of the song, and we can see that the chord sequence starts and ends on a C major chord, and also that the melody starts and ends on a C note. This is enough evidence to show me that we're in the key of C major and not A minor. As we go on through this course, you will little by little gain an ever clearer understanding of exactly how to tell the difference between a major key and its relative minor. But for now, looking at the first and last chord of the song and the first and last note of its melody is a good rule of thumb to follow. Once we've established the key, the next step is to check out the range of the melody. And to do this, we simply scan through the notation and find the highest note and the lowest note used in the melody. So the highest note is this D right down here towards the end of the song. And the lowest note is this E up here towards the end of the first line. So now we have enough information to work out which position on the fretboard would be the ideal one to play this tune. Remember, there's almost always more than one position that you can play a tune in on the fretboard. Let's start by looking at where our two range notes can be found on the fretboard. Next, as we know we're in the key of C major, let's map out all the C notes on the fretboard using the caged system. Now, by applying the sandwich exercise that we studied back in section 2.5 of the course, we can explore the options. We could work inside the C shape here. Our sandwich exercise gives us this pattern for the C major scale. and we can extend that one note higher to include the high D at the top of the song's range. This diagram shows the C major scale plus the high D. I've faded out the notes of the scale not used in the melody. Two reasons I might decide against this position are that I find the top two notes a little tinny sounding on this string. Think I'd prefer a warmer tone. Also, by including the open strings, I have two notes over which I have no fretting hand control. The inclusion of open notes also means I can't instantly transpose to other keys if I learn this song in this position. So let's check out the next option by moving up the cage system to the A shape. So there's my scale, plus the extra note I need at the top of the range. This works quite nicely. I've done away with the open strings and the fingering is quite easy. But I still have this one note on the B string here, and I may decide I prefer a warmer tone for this note. Moving up to the G shape, we're now working with warmer string tones, but the fingering for the scale requires this little shift in the fingering pattern. So I may feel that this is not the easiest way to play this. So let's check out the E shape option. I think I quite like this one. Easy fingering, a nice tonal balance overall. The D shape gives us similar tonal range and ease of fingering, but it's perhaps not going to lend itself to integrating chords with the melody, something we might like to do at a later stage. And it's less understandable part of the pattern, as almost all the notes lie outside the recognisable complete octave pattern. So there's our D shape. Normally we see the complete octave pattern there, but we're really working in this remnant below the recognisable part of the pattern. So for those reasons it wouldn't be my first choice. Finally, let's look at the upper C shape option. This gets a little awkwardly high on the fretboard for my liking, and I've got a cutaway on this guitar. And the tone of the lower strings above the 12th fret is not quite so good. So these are the reasons why I see this as an unlikely choice. So, no less than 6 possible options there. And I hope I've given you some indication of the sort of thinking behind the decisions I might make in this respect. We're really getting into some of the finer points of guitar playing knowledge with this demonstration. Once you've settled on which position to use, you can actually start reading the music and playing the tune. Now, there are 2 distinctly different approaches to reading standard notation at this level. The first approach is to read each individual note, work out its pitch and duration, and then find that note in the scale. So let's have a look. Let's look at our sheet music. And our first note here, it's on a space, it's the 3rd space up, so it's F, A, C. That's a C, all right. So, and it's a C above middle C. So it's at the top end of our range of our position that we found on the guitar. And it's a crotchet, so it's worth 1 beat. And we're in 3/4 time, so I count 1, 2, 3, and then play the note. Now let's have a look what note is next. Back to the music. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's on the 3rd space up, F. Oh, it's another C. All right, so let's play that note again. And so on. But I'm sure you wouldn't do it this way, because you would immediately spot that the second note is identical to the first. So this brings us to the second method of reading music. And that involves reading each note relative to the one before. Easy in this case. The first note's a C, and the second note's the same. Now the third note we could look at in absolute terms and calculate every good boy deserves fortune. It's a B. It's on the middle line. And that is here on our C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. There. Okay. But that's a lot of work. Much simpler to simply read it as being 1 step down the scale relative to the first note. So this is how we read the majority of notes in a tune. And this works because in most tunes, most of the time, melodies move scale-wise. If we take a look at this tune as a typical example, we can see that out of 56 notes, only 9 of them really need to be read by the longer absolute process. That's around 16%. So choose your position, find the first note, C, and off you go. Same note again, down a step, down another step, back to that first note, down a step, same again, up a step, back down 2 steps, whoops, oh no, it's, what's that note, every good, oh, it's a G. And then the next note, 2 further steps down the scale. There we go. And that's the basic process. Hopefully, by following the method outlined in this lesson, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easy this turns out to be. And the more you practice, the better your note recognition will become, and you should soon find yourself able to sight read. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you'd really like to maximize your potential as a guitar player, click on the link in the description below to the Secret Guitar Teacher site. Here you can sign up for a 30-day trial free of charge and without obligation. We won't even ask you for your credit card number.